Welcome everyone to episode 186 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, recorded on this February 3rd, 2022. I'm your host, Mark, and I'm not by myself. I'm joined by my good friend and yours. It's Mino Spellgood. Mino, how are you doing this beautiful winter evening?
Good, Mark. Got all my violence out on Ranting Hour yesterday, so I'm nice and calm and civil tonight.
Awesome. And you do not have 11 inches of snow like I do.
Oh, right. That you're in that area.
Yeah.
That's really bad right now.
Yeah, it was great. Hearing. Yeah, the kids had remote learning for the last 2 days, which is horrible, especially as my wife has been gone all week. So don't suggest it. Don't suggest it. Props to all the teachers out there and all the parents out there. Man, it's a mess. But should be going back to school tomorrow. Hey, take a minute. 96 people watching and only, I don't know, I didn't even look. 3 likes. Come on, guys. Do like. If you're on YouTube, like, sub. If you're on Twitch, follow. Consider a sub. Consider a membership on YouTube. We appreciate your support. If you want to get through to us live, and we do encourage you to join live on Twitch or YouTube, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time every Thursday night. You can give us a super chat, or you can sub on Twitch and just write your question in there. We'll stop. We'll address it. We will get to you with that. So, last week, our TCC intern, Poto Cedar, had a great question. What was Mark's favorite drink from his youth? And I'm glad that he knew this, because I certainly wouldn't have come up with it from the top of my head. But my answer was on the show, apparently many years ago, Clearly Canadian, Wild Cherry Clearly Canadian, which is a kind of a fizzy drink, like a Sprite. But I did love that. I used to drink that all the time when I was a young lad, kind of upgraded over the years to different things. But thank you, Poto Cedar. This week, the question was, what did Pierre bake for the first anniversary of the podcast? And there's a fun story behind that. Somebody in the pre-show got that correct, but that's good. And, hey, we might do a sub-campaign. Mino, we got some banners. Are you planning to pull on any of these or not planning to pull on any of these? You have Garnet's BT, correct?
Yeah.
So, yeah, neither of us need to BT pity. But we might do sub-campaign for the new character on the banner. So, I don't know. What's that looking like? Tickets or gems? I don't know. What do you people think? If you want us to pull, you let us know with your wallets. And then we'll do some pulls on air. And we did get some new banners as of the recording of the show just moments ago. We have the debut of the second part of the anniversary, which is Abyss, with 2 new banners, not 1. So we do have a lot to cover tonight. But before we do, let's get into what happened on Sunday afternoon, the Squex Community Mobile Stream. That's where our good friends Squex Joshua and Squex Crystal break down all the coming events of the month, upcoming events, and not to my surprise, but to some people's surprise, we were given a wonderful news for the 4th anniversary of DissidiaFFOO, which was at the end of last month, January. We have a 2-week GL First BT cycle, including none other than Final Fantasy IX's Princess Garnet. We will talk about her in a bit, but with this BT cycle is 3 unique events and 5 banners. There will be 10 banners throughout the month. All of them will have free pulls. We have ongoing daily free pulls, free multis, a lot of cool Start Dash renewed with Lightning, C90 and BT Plus, so a lot of free pulls, a lot of stuff going on in the game. But 3 new events. A Crevasse event, which is a brand new event in beta form. We've never had anything like it. Crevasse.
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 It's not crevice. We know that for sure. It's not crevice. That's a different word, which has a very similar meaning. Not all crevasses have crevices, but all crevices are crevasses. I don't know, something like that. Either way, it's kind of a stupid word. And But that is the new event we will talk about tonight. The second event will be a new Abyss, which just happened tonight. And then there will be a new Equinox event, Annular Equinox or something like that. I forget what they're calling it. But very exciting. Mino, what do you think about just the idea of a GLBT first? I know you said last week, no way. More so, what do you think about having these GL first events, 3 of them back to back?
Well, for the GL first BT cycle, I always thought it would throw game balance out the fucking window, but this is right in the middle of garbage time, or rather, right at the start of garbage time. So I guess ultimately this doesn't do anything, right? Like if anything, it's boosting the sales during garbage time, because if JP was anything to go by, sales started plummeting these next 5 months coming up. But this might invigorate sales, and we'll go into why I think that when we talk about Garnet. But I I don't know. Like, did they purposely make garbage time so they could drop this in GL? Did they do these calculations so that literally nothing would change? Like, they could release the most busted character in the game's history, and it would ultimately not change what anyone would pull? Because, again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but if you pull Garnet now, what are you skipping? Like, what are you possibly skipping? Like, if it was Aranea or Beatrix back in the day, right? Like, there were really good characters that you no longer needed if you had Aranea.
Yeah.
But the next 5 months, what are you skipping? Most people were planning to skip until Force Weapons anyways.
Exactly.
So this was the perfect time to release the most busted shit possible, because this is changing nobody's pull plans.
Right.
Nobody is changing their pull plans because
well, it is. It's changing everyone's pull plans because you should pull this unit. There's literally no reason to. There's literally no reason to not pull Garnet. If you are literally, if you have, I was thinking about like re-rolling accounts. Somebody was talking about that, which I generally think is a terrible idea. If I had 0 gems and no tickets with my current roster, and I didn't have any resources for Garnet, I would probably just buy gems until I could get her, and then not pull for the rest of this time, right? Because that would be a good investment. Like, that would be the best way to go about the next 6 months. Now, I'm not saying you should spend an aggressive amount of money, but seriously, I mean, she is a character who on her own is going to destroy content, but then will also enable then all of your favorite C90 upgrades to go through content. It's a win-win-win for everybody. There's seriously no reason not to pull. But yeah, I think it was a great move. We'll talk more about Garnet, believe me. But I think it was a great move on Squex's part, because we know, especially with the Foresight, if we didn't have Foresight, this would be much more up in the air. Like, oh man, Noel's doing awesome damage. Oh man, Locke's doing awesome damage. Oh man, Cisne, Layla, all these characters. But with the Foresight we have, we know like at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. There's enough new characters coming, and old characters are getting C90s. For most veteran players or most average length players, anybody who's not the new player, which that's a whole nother conversation for a different day. People weren't going to pull, and people aren't pulling. How many people in our Discord say, and people who have been, at least in, again, small sample size from our fairly large Discord and community, a lot of people who were perpetual no resource people, never had pity, never had gems, never had tickets, are starting to collect 200,000-300,000 gems. They're starting to have 600, 700, 800, 900 tickets, and so that's not going to get any worse over the next few months. So I think this was a great move, because everybody's going to pull. Lots of people are buying. You have a costume, you have a weapon skin. You have some early C90s, so people are going to pull on all 3 of these banners to try to, maximize getting the BT. I mean, it's just great on Squex. All around. Good on them. Anything else about that, Mino?
Just Garnet, did you want to talk about the events? I'm not sure how you want to line this up. Should we just go through the news first?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
let's
no,
go through the news
yeah,
first.
we're
Yeah, yeah.
just talking about just the general Squeck stream. So I mean, we'll talk about that. But what do you think about the fact that we're getting 3 back-to-back unique GL events?
Oh no, it's fantastic. The anniversary on both sides of the game is amazing. This is easily the best anniversary yet. Um, right now you could start JP or GL with a fresh account
Yeah.
and be caught up to Endgame in a day.
Yeah,
100%. In fact,
literally.
that's not that's not theory. I
Yeah.
know several people who started a JP account and a GL account after anniversary and are doing the hardest content within a day. Like
Yeah.
people are already beating Spiritus and JP within a day of rolling an account because on either one now, if you roll an account, you can max a character. All you need to
Yeah.
do is max Tifa to do the hardest JP content. All you need to do is max Garnet to do the hardest GL content. So right now is the best time to start on either side. You get such a big start. So for newbies, it's great, and they're really appealing to newbies on both sides, right? Like
Yeah.
not only these big things, but like everyone's times 2 synergy. Farming is easier than ever. All the cycle quests, all the World of Illusions, everything is up. The farm has never been easier, and I say that as I said, like I had friends who just started the game. And one of the things they were warned about is the long, long grind, especially summon boards, which I
Yeah.
can't deny. Summon boards are a massive hurdle for new players to get through. But now they start up, they get all these resources to max like a team, because we'll go over what the new players got. You can automatically start the game with a team or two fully built, and you can just start playing the fucking game. You don't have to grind up to end game. You are just there already. And so new player attraction is great
Yeah.
on both sides. And then event wise, they're catering to the veterans, right? There's no question for the GL events, it's all veteran stuff. It's 3 lockout events back to back to back, all lockouts. Crevasse was you need 21 characters decently built. Then you've got Abyss with its lockout codes, and then you have Equinox, which is an even stricter version, like not as many fights as Crevasse, but higher difficulty all around. So this is literally for veterans. No one starting an account is going to be able to do these events. And then on the JP side, you've got Spiritus, which is also aimed at veterans. So I think they did the perfect mix. For new players and casual players, just throw resources at them. Just bury them in fucking resources. It doesn't matter. And then for the veterans, challenging gameplay to reward them for having played so long. Lockout content rewards you for being a long-time player and building up your roster. And that's exactly what all the anniversary events are doing.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful on both ends. And I know there were some complaints about the new player rewards. Let's go over that real quickly just in case you didn't catch what Josh said. Again, the new player rewards are just for new players. Or they may come back if you've been away from the game for 60 days or more and you come back to the game. I think you might get able to get them as well. They got some similar stuff in the Japanese version of the game with some quality of life upgrades, and those notably are in the Japanese version of the game. So I assume we'll get this in the next 6 months to a year in GL. When you beat, probably with 5th anniversary, but you never know if we'll get a little early. Either way, the main differences between our version and the Japanese version of the game are when you beat Chapter 1, all of your units are level 70, 70, 70, and all of your summons are level 20. So that's a big deal, obviously saves a lot of time. But on our side of the game, if you are starting a new account, the big things, and we won't go through it all because you get a ton of stuff. Flowcharts suck, Bamboozled. Thank you for the $2 super chat. That's our opinion. Don't need flowcharts. It's not that. It's a pretty easy game. You don't need flowcharts, except if they're pull or not pull. I mean, you don't even really need a flowchart for that. You do need a flowchart to keep track of all of these new player rewards. But the big gates for new players are things like character points, summon board points. Obviously, you see a lot of new players with their summon boards aren't mastered. Power stones, huge thing. Now, if you are a new player and you do all of the new player support missions, and there's a lot of them, you get a crap ton of power stones. And I mean a crap ton of, like hundreds of power stones. You get like 150,000 character points. You get enough. You get 50,000 wild points. Like, that's the one thing I would like out of all of these. Like, I would take 50,000 wild points on every single summon. That's pretty freaking amazing. I don't care about any of these other things. But you get enough to book several, all kinds of armor tokens, all kinds of weapon tokens, EX tokens, a lot of EX tokens, LD tokens. New players actually get 10 LD tokens. They get enough to do 1 green and 1 blue right off the bat. And, of course, tons of purples, armor and weapons, everything else. Just a ton of crap and a really good time to start as a new player. So really encourage, if you have friends or people that you know that want to play the game, really, really a good time to play the game. So jump on that. And again, I'm not salty about this. I want new people to play the game. Like, I already have all that stuff. Like, again, I wouldn't mind the wild points. You could have thrown everybody the wild points, but at the end of the day, a new character is 15 minutes of my time. Not a big deal. And I could grind wild points on, when I'm bored and not doing anything. I don't. So that's on me. But other than that, 10 LD tokens is 1 LD weapon. I apologize. 1 LD weapon. So new players will automatically get enough to just basically get they don't get BT tokens, but pretty much any LD character, and you can bring them to 90 pretty easily. So you can build a team pretty quickly. Of course, that's usually not a big deal because new players have tons of gems. So, but the green and the purple and the blue and all that kind of stuff, the power stones, that's a huge thing. Character points are a huge thing. Summon board points, wild points, a big thing too. So really, really appealing. So again, I don't understand why people are upset about that, who are not new players, because we already have all that stuff. So, and if you really want to, I can't even, Mino, can you imagine a situation where your account is so bad that you would re-roll at this point?
If you're a returning player from a long hiatus, which too many people always talk about they are, but I know returning players got things too.
Yeah.
We can read that off as well. But basically, if your account has less stuff than what the new players are getting, just re-roll.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. like if you're complaining that the new players get more stuff than you have on your veteran account, just re-roll.
Like if you started last month.
Yeah, like what are you missing at this point?
Re-roll. Like that's about it. Do I have advice? I finally some. That is a good question. If you're a brand new player, whose LD should you get? Whatever one you don't get as you're rolling, basically, I would just use those for whoever you're have other things for to build around your team. Every new player should pull on the Garnet banner. Every new player should get Garnet and Lilisette fully built up. Great options there. And we'll talk about other things as well. But basically, if you're a new player, you should be pulling on every banner.
Super chat here?
I already got one super chat. Was there another one?
Oh, the bamboozled?
Yeah. I answered that. Did you have an opinion on flowcharts? I said
shit.
Yeah.
All right, I must have missed your answer. What did you say?
I said they're stupid and we don't need flowcharts.
Oh, Mark disappeared there for...
Yeah.
No, I think flowcharts are great. I just think the people making these flowcharts don't understand how to make flowcharts.
Oh, that's fair.
And have never done so professionally.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or a lot of amateur flowcharts out there, and that just makes things worse. All right, it's like flowcharts are a yes or no toggle switch. If you have to explain more than that, you're not doing it right. It's very bad for the ones we've seen. But that's not my consent to go make more. Please.
Correct. Yeah, we are not encouraging anyone to go make flowcharts. That is correct. There was an interesting update right before Garnet became live, and that was the Brave Weakness update. So Brave Weakness damage is now been increased to the basically the percent it does. Did you have anything more on that? Basically, your weakness damage is doing more damage.
Oh yeah, no. So weakness cap is up.
Yeah.
That's a very meta thing, but just know that with the update, you used to be able to stack weakness damage to have a 250% multiplier.
Yeah.
We think it's higher now to 350. That just means you don't lose too much by stacking, because we're gonna get a lot of this coming up with Edgar coming soon, and we've got like other weapon types, right? Like you imperil weapon types and elementals and stuff, and then you've got Shantoto BT, and then the point is we can do more damage now, stacking weaknesses.
Ryuken says, I re-rolled in December and it's better than my 1-year-old account plus 300,000 more gems. Well, that's fair.
And re-roll.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
You didn't play enough in the year to justify the account, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. We do have some new costumes. So we have the Princess Garnet costume, which I predicted would be the one we got. Lilisette has her secret armor costume. Somebody told me where that's from. Where's that from, Mino? Do you know?
It's just an armor set.
Yeah.
For
Okay. Yeah. It's just it's an armor set for dancers in that game that everyone didn't play. There's also a fancy new staff that has a chocobo and a moogle on it. The moogle chocobo staff, and a new sword. Looks pretty cool for Alisaie, who's out tonight as we're doing. So it's actually not ridiculous looking like all the other weapon skins. Pretty much every weapon skin we've had has been fairly comical. But this sword is pretty cool looking. So engraved, etched sword. I mean, just kind of looks like a fancy sword. So if you're looking for a new sword, there you go. If you don't like the ultimate weapon sword, because that's you're running a lot of sword users, the most popular weapon type, you can buy a sword for $11.99 or wherever it is in your country. We also got stream rewards, so whoo! And we already did the Twitter campaign. There's going to be 2 Twitter campaigns. I think the goal for the first one was 300, and by the end of the stream, the Squex Community mobile stream, we had over 700 retweets. So we already got that one. There will be another one, so just check Twitter halfway through the month. And we're going to get some books and ingots for BT weapons, so that will be great. And we did get our stream rewards already, and that is good. Thank you to that. So let's talk about Crevasse. And first about the characters. So we did get a whole bunch of stuff with the new event. We got 2 banners. The first banner was, we did get the Start Dash banner as well, but only lightning on that. And we do have a lightning banner. We have a lot of banners up right now. The lightning banner had Prompto and Arciela. Arciela did not get her C90. So remember, there will be characters coming back who do not get their C90s. So Prompto and Lightning got C90s. Lightning got her BT plus. Prompto got a C90. Mino, do you have any idea what Prompto got with his C90?
I don't give a shit. I don't know why you keep asking me week in, week out. I keep telling Mark, I don't want to talk about any of these C90 people. They're not worth my fucking time. Their EX is harder and their AA is irrelevant.
His EX and his AA got better. To be fair, I forgot Prompto even got a C90 because I still don't have his EX. I do have his LD. And Lightning. Lightning got her BT plus. I know all the Lightning fans were looking forward to that. In the words of Somege from the live stream, check out the live stream on Monday night, live stream, Defo live stream, or live stream Defo, something like that. Our good friends Raw Life, Blartanian, Blart Defo, and Somege, Some Girl. In the words of Some Girl, I think she summed it up really well because she does have a green Lightning, and she said Lightning sucks. And so
I want to point out that Somegi is a known champion of really shitty characters.
Yeah.
Like, she swears up and down that Vanille and Lilisette are good characters.
Yeah.
So for her to say that Lightning sucks, Lightning really sucks, which is still unfair because I think Lightning's better than the 2 characters that I just listed.
So Lightning, the saving grace for Lightning is if you really, really like Lightning, we have Garnet. So you can run Garnet on your party, and Lightning will do more damage because her damage is pretty abysmal. And because Garnet's follow-up will be triggering every 4th action, your team will do a lot more damage because that follow-up is ridiculous. and if you really want to go all in, if Lightning's like your absolute favorite character, you can ultimate weapon on her. And with Garnet and Lightning, Lightning can not suck. So again, that's just another selling point for that. But yes, of the BT pluses, of the damage dealing BT pluses, she is not on the higher end of the damage dealers. She really did not get enough to really help her damage. But again, what can you say? It's garbage time in that sense. You can use pretty much anybody, and she's better than Jegrin. So that's got something.
Infamous Element says, hell, last Soul video I saw,
Oh,
even he didn't
damn.
green her yet. He said he's still debating it.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's not a good sign when like the Lightning champion has not greened her. That's rough. Lightning is not bad for single boss, but also Machina and Null are also not bad at single boss fights. Like, that's the problem. We have a lot of characters who are not bad at single boss fights right now. But yeah, we also don't get very many of those, Jovial Roger says. But yeah, the EX does hit really hard, and that's nice. It is a lot of fun to hit that button now. It's always been fun. I love that animation. It's a great animation. But yeah, so wouldn't pull for Lightning. Obviously, if you have her, if she's a favorite, go ahead. There you go. Enjoy that. The meat of this cycle is Lilisette with a new LD in C90 and Garnet. The big thing Lilisette got is, I mean, obviously her EX does more damage. If you're not familiar with Lilisette, she is a kind of an aura bot, party battery, and debuffer. But she gets a new LD that heals the party. Hey, that adds to her kit. Now she can heal. She batteries better and gives another party buff and also another debuff. The big thing is the debuff is an HP damage taken up debuff, 20%. So that is less than Kurasame, but more than Fran Call, more than Gabranth Call. So among the HP damage up calls, because that's pretty much when you're going to use the Lisette as a call, that debuff is pretty good. So that's a really solid HP damage up. If you missed Kurasame and you hate Kurasame for some reason, Lilisette's a good grab for your HP up calls. And hey, you're going to want to be using them. Why not? Other than that, I don't know that she merits a team slot, although if you want to use her as a support, she's definitely usable. But man, her call is really why you'd grab her right now while you're getting the rest of Garnet's kit if you missed out on Garnet's kit before. You know anything about Lily that you want to add to that conversation?
I really cannot justify putting her on a team.
It's hard.
Her unique mechanic, and all of the characters coming have a unique mechanic, so that's kind of cool. I do like that. Her unique mechanic is a party sap. So usually sap takes a percentage of the target's max brave for the user. Yeah. Hers is 10% enemy max brave for the entire party. That's kind of cool, but I don't know. Like, her damage is mediocre.
She does get that on her call as well, though. So
yeah, and like, I mean, we're talking about just pulling her period, I guess.
Yeah.
So the only thing she can do better than anyone else is apply a shit ton of debuffs instantly. Her S2 is now instant. Yeah. So for that orb that was made for her, she could tick it up at any time as much as she wanted to. I can't think of any really good points for her, though. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah. Great call, though. And she does get that sap on the call as well. And I think she gets it on both of her call because she starts with it in play. And so for regular call and LD call, she does get her LD buff. So it is a really solid call. You end up, I think, with 6 turns of that debuff. And also she gives some personal party, or she gives some party stuff with her call. So, I mean, it's a really nice call. Again, is it worth pulling for calls? No, but if you're going to pull on this banner and you get Lily LD as a consolation prize, I think it's a pretty good, pretty good banner to pull on. Ash is also on this banner, but she sucks. And doesn't get a C90. That brings us to Princess Garnet, who we just got her LD, but she gets a C90, a very, very early C90. Garnet comes back with her C90 at the very end of the C90 era pre-Shinryu. So like the month before, like during Vincent's cycle, I think is when she got her C90. So we are getting a 4 or 5 month early C90 in Garnet. We are getting an LD board rework, which JP does not have, which makes her LD and her LD follow-up hit like a truck. I mean, it just, the dumps on both the LD and the follow-up are now ridiculous. Her LD follow-up is doing a ridiculous amount of damage. And we are getting a BT, which again, JP does not have. So we are getting a BT weapon from a year from now, a BT plus from a year from now. Exclusive GLLD board reworks, and a 4 to 5 month early C90. This all comes to a this all comes to a head in a character that is now just ridiculously broken. Her LD also refreshes her skill 1 and skill 2, so she never runs out of skill. You never have to press that stupid Brave and HP button ever again. She's got a stupid amount of skills. But her HP, or her Brave Plus effect, her burst effect is ridiculous. It has the ability to increase your HP damage limit. Now, she's got attack, she's got max brave, she's got stonk brave gains, she's got HP damage up, she's got brave damage up, she's got all the overflows you need. This is just on her BT effect. There's also another special buff after that, but let's do one thing at a time. The big thing is the HP damage up, or the max brave damage up, the extra damage that you can do, which is similar effect to an ultimate weapon or the blue armors. So you know how awesome those blue armors that are giving the HP damage up, or your ultimate weapons that are giving HP damage up, why we make such a big deal about that? She is basically doing an entire ultimate weapon worth of HP damage up by herself to the entire party. And thank you, BC. It's just the refreshes of the skills. She has all the dumps in JP, but she doesn't have the skill refreshes. That's what she gets on her board. So, and that's nice. That makes her BT phase ridiculous, but also just makes her not run out of skills ever. But yeah, no, it's just completely broken, completely busted. They don't even have. I think Ramza might get close to that, but I don't think there's any BT effects that are even close to this. When this BT effect runs out, it also gives a special buff to the party that is a gold frame buff. So if you are doing her burst and then it ends, it does a special attack at the end of it. So like does the burst attack, then you have the 8 turns or 6 turns the burst. How many turns is it? I think it's 8 turns, isn't it? I'm trying to see.
For the burst effect, yeah.
And then at the end, right, it does another attack, which is a stupid powerful attack, and then gives your party this framed buff, which is not quite as good as the BT effect, but also really stupid good. Brave gains up, brave damage up, HP damage up, attack, brave, or I brave gain, etc. And it's gold frame, so it can't be thrown away. Oh yeah, Ramza goes up. So Ramza's the best, but he's not doing everything else on top of it, and the crazy amount of damage that she's doing. So, but you could combine both of them, and that would be stupid. Like Ramza and Garnet BT effects going with your damage dealer will make everything dead very quickly. Certainly until you get to Shinryu, and people were using Garnet without her BT plus in early Shinryu. So. It's just hard when they don't have that force gauge thing to justify them throughout Shinryu. So yeah, she is, she's so powerful. And, I mean, anybody who says she's not, anybody who says don't pull, she's not worth it, anybody who sits on the fence is just not paying attention. And trying to sell you something. She is exceptionally broken. She is, do you have to pull anybody and get this game? No. But if there is as much of a must pull, she's definitely as much of a must pull as you can get. She's a ridiculous, powerful damage dealer. Party Enchanter brings everything that a Party Enchanter could want. I mean, enchant and peril, healing, battery, brave gain up, great auras, And then this HP damage limit up is just, yeah, it just makes her the best character in the game. Not only is she the best GL first we've ever had, I mean, she's arguably the best character in Defo to this point. So, Mino, what do you think? Skip?
I don't want to talk about Garnet. I feel like Garnet's really boring to talk about because all you need to know is she's really, really good. Best in the game. Best in the game. All right? If anybody else wants to talk semantics, I think it's a waste of time. To give a abridged version of what I said on the ranting hour yesterday, if you are telling people that Garnet plus X and Y is a really good team, that's a waste of time. Because any team with Garnet is the best team. It doesn't really fucking matter who the other 2 slots are. You're going to slaughter content. Doesn't fucking matter. If you're here trying to parse her auras and try to figure out what exactly she's giving and who to supplement with that, I think you're wasting your fucking time. Who cares? At the end of the day, she makes every number high.
Yeah.
That's it. And if you are posting screenshots and videos of her soloing Entropy Tier 4, I swear to shit, that's not a joke. I've seen that. And Entropy Tier 20, Entropy Tier 19.
Do not at me with your Jagron Garnet clears over the next 3 months. I don't care.
Like, this is massive waste of fucking time. Like, if you are trying to figure out why Garnet is good, you are literally wasting your fucking life. It doesn't matter. She is the best. Nothing's going to change it. Doesn't matter how she's the best. Doesn't matter why she's the best. She's the best. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about, oh, is this the best GL first we've ever got? Is this the most OP character we've ever got? Who cares? What does it change at the end of the day? I really want to fucking know. Because I am so tired. Going to Discord, going to Reddit, seeing people say show Garnet soloing fucking Guy Lufania Plus and all this shit. Like, this is a non-discussion, right? You might as well start arguing why the sky is blue. That said, fuck Garnet as a character. We're moving on to what it means to the game. Oh, and also, I want to throw out that Garnet is, at the end of the day, an aura bot. And what that means is she's as interesting to use as Balthier or Raijin, which means none of the buttons you press matter. So not only Mark's laughing, but
that's true.
So
no,
not
it's
only
true.
are we in garbage time. Not only are we in garbage time, and people are already saying, "Oh, thank God, I can turn my brain off and not play this game." Right? Like, thank God, content is so easy. I don't have to think. Garnet doubles down on that because you don't have to make any decisions with Garnet. Once again, you're wasting your life if you're arguing what Garnet's optimal BT phase is or what she does. It literally does not matter.
What stance she should be in. Yeah,
it literally does not matter what button you press with Garnet at all. Period. All right? Like, it's all inconsequential.
What if her BT runs out? Like
gameplay wise,
who cares?
Super boring. This is literally get a shit ton of power, but no game. Like, this is what all the garbage time players wanted. They wanted to just win. And here's your win button. Garnet's your win button.
So win more buttons.
Yeah, so like, I literally don't need to discuss this character for the next 5 months. Doesn't fucking matter. If you bring Garnet, you're gonna win. Like, there's no discussion. If I see fucking Reddit threads saying, you know, oh, what did you use to do this fight? And everyone's posting Garnet runs. You're literally not telling anyone anything. This is why TCC was born after RNA and Beatrix, by the way, because like 2-3 months from now, new players will join, right?
Oh yeah,
and they won't have.
They will not have
Garnet.
Garnet.
And then they'll be like, how do I beat this fight? And
Garnet.
Everyone's just like, Garnet, right? Like, that doesn't help anybody. That's why TCC was born. That's probably what's going to happen, but, you know, who gives a shit at this point?
And to be clear about, you know, when you're like adding us again and being like, oh man, you guys said, I mean, just pick a character from the next 5 months.
Gilgamesh.
Yeah, Gilgamesh.
Thancred.
Yeah. Thancred is underwhelming. Well, why? Look how much damage Thancred did. Look how much damage Gilgamesh did. Gilgamesh's BT phase with Garnet and Ramza, like full ultimate weapons. Like, yeah, like we get it. Like, we're not arguing with you on that point. Like, you understand the character on its own, probably not doing much. But yeah, it's kind of the Aranea, like, man, did you see I carried Prompto through this, and you brought Aranea and friend Aranea. Of course you brought, like, you could have brought a nobody and just subbed in an Aranea, and then you were fine, right? I mean, we lived through that before. It wasn't as bad with Beatrix, I feel like. It may have been as bad with Zaz. I think Zaz was the first Zaz 35 because everybody used Zaz. And then, of course, Aranea, friend Aranea was a huge thing for a while. Core, not so much. But, yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot of Garnet. And, of course, we should because, please send us your screenshots with all of your telling us how awesome everybody is with Garnet standing right next to them.
Right. So anyways, character aside, because I really do think I'm sure there's gonna piss a lot of people off. I really do think Garnet is worse than Eteroth in the fact that using Garnet is basically not playing the game. Let's be real. All right. People are already hating on Eteroth, and I'm saying people from our community. People from our community hate Eteroth because they're like, if you're using Eteroth, why are you even playing the game? And I feel like Garnet is basically that, right? Okay, so that being said, if we're moving on to what Garnet means for the game, which I think is a more interesting discussion, is we talked about how Garnet dropping in garbage time is perfect because it's inconsequential, right? It's not going to affect pull plans. I don't think anyone's going to... Now, if anything, I think it boosts pull plans. Now people can pull all their dumpster favorites like Thancred and Edgar and say, hey, look, I can do content with them now, right? Like, you can just pick up any garbage person and, play with your favorites. So that's a plus to Garnet. That's a plus to people pulling more. And I do think that's a smart move on Squex's part.
Yeah.
That's one. The second thing is that I think they're doubling down on garbage time because what garbage time usually means is every year we get a sort of garbage time period. And every year people become so reliant on these crutches they forget how to play.
Yep.
Like literally, that all the veterans who've been around know this. I know Mark knows this. After Aranea no longer slaughtered content, a lot of people forgot how to play the game properly.
Yeah.
After Beatrix went out of style, a lot of people forgot how to play the game properly. Garnet is the worst kind of drug because Garnet is an aura bot. What that means is, with Aranea, nobody could refute how overpowered Aranea was because she was doing all that damage on her own with no support.
Right.
So everyone knew she was a carry because she pumped out the bigger numbers. So next GL first, Squex made it a little more subtle with Core.
Yeah, no one got
it. Core doesn't do big damage, but he follows up constantly.
Yeah.
And because nobody in this community knows how to do math beyond like a 6th grade level, everyone thought Core sucked. We have so many receipts of why does Core do so little damage when Aranea was soloing fights? Yeah. Because people can't add that, he does, let's say, 100k damage 10 times for every actual turn count. Yeah. They can't add that up. Whereas, other characters can do 1 million in a button press, like Machina. So everyone, all the veterans also know that Core, people had no idea Core was strong. Everyone said, oh, Core enables my favorites. And because his damage was added to another character's total damage, they were saying, oh, Core is a support character. Core enables my favorites. Yeah. Core is just there to make Freya hit harder, right? And so just how subtle follow-up attacks are, they made people believe that all characters they pulled were viable, and Core was not carrying at all. Now, let's go to the far fucking extreme to auras. Nobody knows how auras work. Nobody. I can ask a random person in this audience what Pain's auras are. The off chance, the 1% chance they actually know off the top of their head what Pain's auras are. I can ask them how much damage that equate to, and nobody would be able to fucking tell me. We have day 1 players doing Crevasse and wondering why they're hitting 1 damage in Lufania plus. Day 1 players who should know what auras do and they don't know how to add auras together to know that
Sure.
they don't have enough auras on their team to hit hard enough. Nobody knows how auras work. So now, Garnet is the perfect drug. You slap her on any team, you don't have to team build anymore. Her auras are so loaded, you never have to stack auras. Garnet plus any 2 people means those 2 people are hitting max damage every fucking turn with no other support. So not only do I think Garnet is a crutch that's going to make a lot of people forget how to play the game when Shinryu comes, because we already have reports from JP players that people who played throughout garbage time and then Shinryu hit, they forgot how to play the fucking game.
Yeah,
And then,
that would be true anyway. Like, remove Garnet from the equation, and that was still going to be true.
No, but this is extra bad. And then Cam came, and then people were able to Cam / Kane through most of the Shinryu fights, and then now that that's pulling back, people are forgetting how to play again. Like, people will never learn how to team build if they rely on these crutches, and Garnet is the perfect crutch because people will throw any 2 characters together with Garnet, think they are team building legends, thinking they're fucking brilliant prodigy masterminds at team building because they put Garnet on the team. And then once Garnet fades out of favor, they will have zero fucking clue how to build teams again. 100% this is going to fucking happen. So I'm saying if that's the intention on Squex's part, brilliant. Brilliant way to
Yeah, but I mean,
people
to
pull
be
more.
fair, there is nothing. I don't think there's anything that they could have done besides maybe what they're doing with these events to prepare us for the kind of team building you need to do to maximize your play in force time. Because, I mean, that's such a different type of play, knowing who increases the gauge higher, what skills that you need, what increases the... I mean, it's a whole different... thank you, Squidbilly, for the follow. Beal, too, for that as well. Yeah, but, I mean, totally different. So I don't know that there's anything that could happen over the next few months that would teach anyone how to do that, because it is just a different style of play than we've had before in terms of actually creating teams that play off of each other's ability to basically increase the force gauge, which is a whole different thing we'll talk about when it gets closer to that. But I do get your point in that it's going to make – it's just this entire era is going to make people not ready for the next era. And I guess the only thing we can say is, hey, don't be surprised when Shinryu hits. It's a whole different style of play. And – you might have to rethink how you go about it because the things that you're using may not work once you get to that new era, but pull and you'll be fine. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the easy advice. Because as you said earlier, day one, I was able to beat the Shinryu in the first fight pretty easily after a couple hours because you pull, you win. And that is at the end of the day how the game should be, I think. So. But let's talk about Crevasse. It is a very interesting new mechanic of gameplay in its beta form, so it's got a few bugs in the system, but that's okay. Anything that's new and exclusive, JP has never gotten anything like this. We've never gotten anything like this, so this is a whole new game mode. You have 7 different fights. They are all old, recycled fights, so nothing new in terms of the fights. 1 Cosmos, 1 Chaos, 2 Lufania, and 3 Lufania Plus. Now, if you select each one of them, you actually get to choose, kind of Abyss style, which codes you bring. So for the 5 Lufania, there's 2 Lufania, 3 Lufania Plus for 5 total Lufanias. There are 5 different orbs you can choose that give you points, and then you can go and choose different weapons and different team colors. Not all weapons are represented. Not all color combinations are represented. And in fact, to get the optimal points for the last 3, so the harder the fight, the more points you get, the more multiplier you get. So to optimize the final points, you would want to bring one of these 3-time weapons and 3-time colors. And those are the most limited of the things. So there's 3-time staff, 3-time greatsword, 3-time regular sword, 3-time green, 3-time blue, and 3-time yellow. So that being said, so you go through all these things, you input the codes, you beat the fight, you get perfect. It locks those characters out for future fights. and it locks those codes out so you can't reuse those codes as well. And then it gives you a point total. To get all of the rewards for this, you beat all of the fights. Actually, you don't have to beat all the fights, but you need 300 points. The maximum number of points you can get is 428. You see that on my screen because I'm great. I know some of you aren't, but Mino and I are very, very good at this game, so we have max points. Wouldn't have come on air if we didn't. We would have been shamed into Nebulous. But you don't need that many points. You can get by with 300. That should be fairly doable for most people who've been playing for a few months or longer. If you're a newer player, because you just need a lot of characters, it may be a lot harder. I don't know of our newer players how many newer, maybe less than 2-3 months, have been able to do this, because you do need it's a big fat roster check, and it's definitely geared towards veterans. And thank you. And anybody complaining about it can suck it, because I think this is great content. I like it. You know, the complaints about Squex is just making us do their work. That's bullshit. That's stupid. This is why we play. To kind of think about, hey, what should I do? I know a lot of people are starting with the easiest and going up. I think that's kind of dumb. Don't do that. Start with the hardest and try to use the biggest, heaviest points as possible, and then go backwards. That's like, if you can, obviously, like it mentions, you work up, but if you had a choice, you should work backwards. And in planning, it's always better to do backwards. I didn't do incessant planning in spreadsheets. I don't think Mino did. I think both of us probably started with the last fight and tried to do the 3 and 3 combinations and then worked backwards. And I only kind of got stuck with 1 or 2 things that I had to tweak to make sure I got the perfect score. But at the end of the day, I loved this. I thought it was great content. There's a couple things that need to be worked out. Resetting codes is kind of hard, so you kind of have to rerun characters in other tiers to reset the codes. That kind of sucks. So if they had a reset code button or just wiped the thing clear, that would be great. Other than that, I have no complaints. I thought this was a lot of fun, something different. It ate up some time. Was a great roster check. Wasn't very challenging. It wasn't particularly challenging unless you were going for the perfect score. I thought that was a fairly good challenge. I think if you were going for 300 and you have a good roster and you're a decent player, and Lufania Plus was not giving you a hard time, this was probably not very challenging. So, Mino, what are your thoughts on this event?
Let me try to keep it brief. I have a lot to say on this event, but I know we have a lot to cover. Wait, do we have a lot to cover?
Not really, because we don't know anything about anything else that's happening tonight.
That's fair. Just the rest of the characters then. So this is my favorite content that the game has ever gotten. I've been playing 4 fucking years, and I think this is the best content they've ever delivered. And I'm so grateful for our fellow content creators and friends that I've been able to hash out a lot of different things, because let's start with the first thing. This is basically their attempt at an endgame. This and Spiritus, right?
Yeah.
Because it really is what a lot of people have been asking for, and why the community has been so split. The community has always said, like, oh, don't lock valuable rewards behind the highest difficulty because I want to collect my BT ingots, which people do. And then they said, okay, fine. 250 is all you need. Tickets for 300.
Yeah.
And same with Spiritus. At the most, you get like 3 tickets for going for the highest score. And then lots of points and lots of scores just to see if you can, just for fun, just to flex. Yeah. First of all, thank you so much, Squex and Team Ninja, for giving me a numerical score I can use to look down on other people. This is everything I wanted. I don't care about BT nuggets. I don't care about books. Resources are extra. Who cares?
To be fair, it would have been nice if you get 428, if you got an exclusive badge that said 428 that only you could buy.
That's too much. So we discussed this too. I know Spiritus has the they have that
okay.
They have the change for the summon icon. Right?
Oh yeah, they do.
Have
That's
a little,
right.
Like aesthetic reward for that. But I feel like once you put any type of reward, even a badge for this, people will complain, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
This was perfect. because the people who want the challenge went for the challenge anyways.
Yeah.
A lot of our TCC regulars like Somegi, Goose, Blart, a lot of the people who do the TCC challenge week in, week out, they went for it, no questions asked, right? Like, it's not, what do I get for doing this? They like the challenge, they went for the challenge. And then the people who didn't want the challenge, they got their 250 or their 300, called the event easy, and fucked off satisfied. And that's perfect. Both parties are happy, right? If you start putting rewards at 428, I think you're going to create some bad blood.
Yeah.
So it's perfect that just having the challenge exist is enough for people who want the challenge. And then making the rest of it easy is enough for, I saw some like ugly comments saying, oh, we're still in garbage time. I thought they were going to fix this. I got my like 250 points in bounce. That was easy. Like,
shut up. Yeah,
no, I wouldn't say shut up. I'm not going to be Mark and say shut up, but I will say that this event was as hard as you wanted to make it. And I think it was perfect in that respect, right? Because sure, if you want to do like Rainsmow or Eateroth for fights and get your 250 points and get your rewards, that's easy. Yeah. No one's saying don't do it. Grab your rewards and go. But obviously, the game is harder when you start running suboptimal teams. Obviously, when you can't use the meta and you have to use something stupid like 3 fucking blue greatswords, then yes, all of a sudden, the game is more challenging. Yes, the game gets harder when you have more restrictions.
Now, if for some reason you have green Garnet, green Vayne, and green Lightning, maybe not challenging. But
right.
Besides, I think maybe Josepher falls into that category, actually having all 3 of those characters. I don't think many people do have all 3 of those green. That's an odd combination.
Okay. So I will throw this out. This is the first kind of endgame I feel like DissidiaFFOO has ever got. This is a beta. This is their first try. What this did was bring out there was a schism among really top tier veteran players, because some people didn't find this content challenging because it's recycled fights, just with more restrictions, etc., etc. There was a lot of discussion going around. And what I think I settled onto is what does Endgame look like for a gacha game, right? Endgame by definition means testing your knowledge of the game or the game's mechanics to the limit. And to me, gacha is roster building, roster checks, collecting. I feel like this game is more of a collector, and a lot of casuals agree too. This game's more of a collector before it is an RPG. As in, if I wanted really hardcore turn-based RPG action, DissidiaFFOO's not my go-to game. There are other single-player games out there that aren't trying to bleed your money dry with pulls that you can go to. Plenty. So I don't play a gacha for the turn-based RPG. I play it for collecting. And don't you fucking lie, all of you. You all love pulling. You all love gambling. You all love collecting and building your roster.
Analytics don't lie.
Yeah.
Pulling.
So to me, endgame DissidiaFFOO or gacha is the roster check. It is a check to your collection. Have you been collecting enough? Fuck you, hoarders. Have you been pulling enough instead of just grabbing the meta and sitting on your 2 million gems? I think the average gem count's up to 2 million now.
2.5 million.
Shameful, all of you guys.
2.5 million.
I'm only at 1.3.
Yeah.
And so I think Mark is showing. Yeah, he's at 1. Yeah. But yeah, we actually pull. We actually use our resources, guys. That's why our gem counts are so low.
That's why we have about half of the average. Yes.
Yeah. And so roster check is the most interesting way to engage in a gacha, in my opinion, because talking to the people who chase the scores and talking to the big whales out there, it's rewarding to be like, hey, you do get extra points for having it built. Because mechanically challenging guys, Reddit has already shown that people don't want mechanically challenging fights. Look how poorly received Vayne Cycle was, for example, that you had to engage in the fights. Look how much people want to Eateroth or pull Garnet and win, right? This is definitely a collector over an RPG. Collector first, RPG second. I know not everyone plays that way. I know BC said he disliked this event because he would rather have mechanically challenging fights, and he finds roster checks boring. That's fine, but I feel like there's nothing wrong with roster checking as Gacha Endgame. And every single one of these anniversary events we get, roster checks, right? We've got Crevasse. We've got, which you need 21 characters for. You got Abyss with the codes that force you to use certain characters. And then we're going to get Equinox, which is just a shorter, higher difficulty version of Crevasse, where it's just lockouts and harder fights. So if that's what it's aiming for, and even Spiritus and JP or any difficulty they give you, if you want to not do the fight, you just have to pull the featured character and win. Like they're never checking your gameplay skill, they're never checking your mechanics. They're checking your roster at all times. Everyone knows if you have the featured character for the event is a non-issue. If you pull Lude, you do not have to worry about Lude's orb or the fight at all. If you pull Cater, you do not have to worry about Queen LC at all, right? Like that's how the game is built.
Yeah, I have no idea what any of the mechanics were for any of the fights that I did in JP, any of the Shinryus or the what's the big one? Spiritus. You have no idea because I can't read Japanese. So, but yeah, you pull the feature characters, it doesn't matter.
and so I think Crevasse is a great step in the right directions. Obviously, there's some quality of life stuff that people want, such as if the codes were easier to switch and reset, like current dimension.
Yeah. Michael had a question about how do you reset. So just to interrupt quickly. So you see, Michael, I have Lightning and Cloud and Garnet in these 3 different fights, and let's say I wanted to redo these 3 fights. All the codes are all messed up. The best way to do that is, and thanks to Black Nero for sharing this before someone else shared it, and I credited them.
Sorry, I saw it from Frog first, so I'm gonna give him credit.
So thanks to whoever found this out.
Second.
If you go to the very first one, the Cosmos, and bring those 3 characters, so if you brought Lightning, Cloud, Garnet, it would reset these last 3 completely. All the codes, all the characters would be reset. So any one that you want to reset, just run the Cosmos with 3 of the characters from the 3 different fights, and you should be able to reset it. So, yeah, there you go. But yeah, it could be easier, and hopefully if we have more of these, they would fix that, yes.
Yeah, that would be nice. There's just a few tweaks here and there, but from discussing with others, it seems like getting 3/4 of the max points for all rewards seems pretty fair, right? 300 out of 428 for all rewards seems pretty fair.
Yeah.
There were some complaints that 3x codes are too much. 3x staffs, 3x green. That's too restrictive. I disagree because 100%. You do not need them to get all the rewards. You could do, because people said, oh, you know what was really fun is doing 2x and then 1x. And yeah, you can do 2x and 1x for all 7 and get way more than you need for all the rewards. So I think there's nothing wrong with it. Super restrictive roster check for max points, which is just for bragging rights. Nothing wrong with it being a little stricter. So, overall, other than small quality of life stuff, I think this was a great step in the right direction. I think this is my favorite fucking event because it was the biggest roster check we've probably ever gotten.
Yeah.
Ever.
100%.
Because Abyss really only tests the banner. Like, if you have all 6 characters on these banners, you're probably going to get through Abyss fine.
Yeah, if you didn't, I mean, now you could have brought, if you had Garnet, you could have brought Zande without any gear and been fine. But you still needed the actual character, so you had to go buy a 15 CP if you didn't have the character. But yeah, I heard some people say, they should have had 3 times for every weapon. And again, I disagree. No. I think having 3 options for weapons, 3 options, and very obviously the 3 staffs, there was only 3 options. You had to bring Garnet, you had to bring Strago, you had to bring, or maybe there was 4 options. You had to bring Zande.
Right.
I think those were the 3. The sword and greatsword had more options, but green staff, those were your options. And no, I think that's great. Again, Garnet was so powerful that she brought the other 2 with her fine. And if you didn't pull Garnet, then don't
still
don't
get all the
420.
rewards.
Yeah,
You
like
can still get all the
it's only
rewards.
250, 300 points.
You just probably won't get 428. And so I just wanted to say before we moved on was that best roster check yet. And for the people with the roster who shot for the main score, this is what they wanted because you could have the perfect team lineup. As Mark is saying, you can only have one green staff team, which means you have to do, if you're shooting for max score, you have to do green staff, yellow sword,
Yep.
blue great sword.
Yep.
And you have a little wiggle room within the other categories, but basically
5 or 6 options for the other ones.
It was literally built. And even if you do, you still had to know how to play them and get through the fights. So it wasn't just you win if you have it. It's you have to have it and kind of finesse your way through. It wasn't
it made the fights challenging.
It wasn't like bring Garnet, pop the BT plus and BT and you win. So
and I mean I had backed myself into a corner with having blue or yellow sword on 5 and lightning and trying to stream disconnected.
Oh,
we should be back. The stream did just die here, so give us a second. We should be back.
Are we? We're not back on my side yet.
I don't know. It just pinged there for a second.
Testing. Let me refresh. It's still offline. Shit. Damn, we had a big audience too. Like, we were on fire. Okay, it's coming back.
Yep. All right.
All right. So, anything else on Crevasse before we move on?
No.
But I
think
certainly hope to see this a lot more. If this becomes a decently regular occurring thing, Squex, I even think people will pull more.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely people who will always want max score. And to do that, they know they need to pull wildly. And so if this showed up every 2 or 3 months, there's definitely a portion of your player base you will hit that will want to pull a lot more. Promise.
Yeah, agreed. Well, as we transition from this to our new event, which we won't be able to talk too much about, just wanted to shout out to, of course, I guess the Final Fantasy Spotlight. Strangers of Paradise is on pre-order, so you can get that. I think that's coming out in March, right? Strangers of Paradise with Jack Garland and the Warriors of Light. That is a Team Ninja game, so the creators of, or the partner team of this, DissidiaFFOO, is working on that, and they also worked on NT, and so Team Ninja and Squex working together on Strangers in Paradise. So check that out, and there will be Stranger in Paradise characters coming to DissidiaFFOO in the Japanese version of the game first. So pretty cool. And just shout out again. We mentioned it earlier, but we did have the Squex community stream, and thank you to Squex Joshua. Thank you to Squex Crystal now. For many years, Squex Glacy was our second to Squex Joshua. Squex Joshua has been with us since the beginning. So thank you for 4 years, and thank you for doing all this stuff with Team Ninja and Squex. The exclusive stuff that we get on this side of the game to keep things interesting. It's really, really, really appreciated. And so we, so we're really excited about that. So. Thank you to Squex Josh. Yeah, so YouTube is acting up here a little bit. Let me try to refresh this a little bit. Cuz is it okay on
it's good on Twitch.
It's good on Twitch. It's not good on YouTube. So we I am sorry on the YouTube end of things. I don't know what is going on YouTube, but you can jump over to Twitch if you would like to watch. If you can still listen, you can listen ahead. Let me grab the Twitch link here real quick, because I do not know what is happening in we're doing a War of the Visions. That's very exciting. War of the
That's very
Visions stream on the official Squex here. So, yeah, that's a very strange. There's the link for if you're watching on YouTube. Very strange thing on YouTube here. So it's just like a green screen. So, yeah, I definitely don't know how to fix that on my end. It's probably, I mean, it was a weird thing that happened. I don't know what happened. But again, sorry for the podcast listeners because that's a little all over the place. But again, thank you, Squex Joshua. Thank you, Squex Glacy. Great stream, great community. Thank you, Team Ninja and Squex, for these great events. Really do appreciate it. Our supporters corner. So again, if you are a member on YouTube or you are a sub on Twitch, you can join us. And you get some exclusive stuff, and you can listen to Poto Cedar's question of the week, which is, which Final Fantasy summon would you like added to DissidiaFFOO? Which Final Fantasy summon would you like added to DissidiaFFOO? So Anima, Raw Life says that. Sarah, that's Indolent Lard, I believe. Yeah, Indolent Lard says Arc, as we already have Arc in the game. Daniel says Titan. Blart says Golem. Silocon says Cactar. Kasisis says Hades. Shadowheart Bismarck. That's my vote. Shaded Mystic says Magus Sisters. Aemon says the type 0 summons that kill your party after you summon them. Final Asim says Knights of the Round, of course. Soraya the Ranger says Doom Train. K9 Weird Doom Train as well. Stray Bead says Crusader. CSAM says Phantom. Goose says Titan. Scythe, Quetz is from Final Fantasy VIII. Yin says Siren, which is strange. That Siren's not it, very truthfully. And Illuminasa says Griever. So all good options there. Sadly, I don't think we're going to probably have any new summons added with its going. But I can say the best thing about the upgrade that Japan got from when you beat episode or beat chapter 1, all your summons are level 20, is Chocobo and Sylph automatically become level 20. Mino, any summons you like to add to the game in some way or form?
No, I think they've actually already said that they're probably not gonna add any, period. But a lot of you guys had really good ideas. I really liked increased evasion, Doom Train for gold, saps and poisons. You've got some follow-up attacks here, Mega Sisters, like interesting stuff that I would actually think would be really fun. Just not sure if we're ever going to see any more summon utility here.
All right, well, let's talk about the event or I guess the banners of the day, which are, we get two more. We have a Ace, Hope, and just Ace and Hope banner. So Ace and Hope LDs, no BTs on this. Oh no, Ace BT is on this. So Ace's full kit and Hope's full kit. Neither of them have C90s, correct? So correct. This is, I guess this is probably an Abyss banner. If you're missing out on stuff that you need for Abyss. I guess this is probably what you need. Is Ace a thrown weapon or is Ace special? Do you know off the top of your head? Thrown. So I'm guessing Abyss has something to do with thrown weapons with Hope.
Next fight already has damage by debuff ticking down. So that screams, and green crystal. So that screams Ace already.
Yeah.
Great.
So unfortunately, neither of them get C90s, but you might need them. So that would be the reason to pull. The other banner has Alisaie and Kais. So Kais will get his C90, and with his C90, he gets more damage on his EX.
Do you need help there?
No, I have no idea what he gets on his C90.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if you do the research. I usually leave it up to Mark, but just in case, credits to BC for helping us out, as always. I can always pump him for information for the last minute. Kais's big thing is that hero support is now 8 turns instead of, I think it used to be 1.
Oh, wow.
So whoever he puts his buff on can launch nonstop for their next 8 turns.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's nice.
His LD debuff is now wave start, which means both of his calls will now apply it.
That is really helpful.
Yeah, very, very, very helpful. Most people use him for his LD debuff, so that's great. You got double the duration now. The 8-turn hero support, right? Once again, so bigger setup than current Selfie, and he gives more battery. His LD debuff gives more battery from launches as well. So he does what he does, but better. So he came about a month early. Oh, we forgot to say Lilisette is about a month early as well. Lilisette and Kais came on the same banner. So Lilisette's about a month early. Kais is about a month early. Kais is really good if you wanna do launches. I'm not a big fan of launches at this current junction. I don't think launches are very meta. At this current junction, all the big players are doing massive amounts of AoE damage, like Garnet or like Locke coming out. Like they're doing massive amounts of AoE damage.
Yeah.
While Kais has Splash in his kit, launch is usually very single target focused. And the sad truth about Foresight, and probably why Kais was moved out, good decision, is that Selfie gets her C90 shortly after Kais, rendering him obsolete. Selfie is also in the air, a campaign banner, her C90. We don't know when she's coming. But basically, what Selfie gets on her C90 is her buff does not tick down. So remember that her debuff on
Oh,
the enemy makes them
selfie
watchable.
C90 is stupid. Like it's
Right, right,
real
right,
bad.
right, 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 right. Of course, Kais is still great, especially as a call, because that LD debuff gives you a shit ton of battery in launches. So still very, very good pickup if you want to prep launches in the future. But know that if your only goal is constant launches, Selfie is on the horizon. Any thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, again, I'm not really sure that Kais would be in your party, although the 8-turn is nice. And if you're big into launches, Selfie is going to be around the corner, and she's stupid broken. But again, yeah, if you're already using him to help your launch team as a call, then this is a nice upgrade for him. So, yeah, that's pretty nice C90. That brings us to the other character, which is Alisaie, and Alisaie gets an LD. Tonberry Troupe does not have their infographics up because they guessed wrong. That happens, doesn't it? But thank you for all their hard work. Check out the Tonberry Troupe, of course. Once they do get everything up, will be a great source of information. But Alisaie is of course, red mage, so she uses white and black magic and switches before that. And if you can look at the wonderful flow chart on TerraberryTroop.com if you need to know how to play her, it's actually not particularly very challenging. You just kind of work between the white and the black stones, and then you press the powerful buttons. And the LD really doesn't change that at all. The LD allows her to get an additional debuff and an additional buff. The debuff gives a framed resist down to her elements, which are fire, thunder, wind, and earth. And so now she gets a framed debuff for all 4 of those. And she gets a new buff, which helps her and gives her additional elemental damage up. And so really, from what I see, and again, I wasn't necessarily anticipating talking about any of these characters today. From what I see, the only thing that you need to do is kind of weave in the LD. And Mino could tell us if this is one of those kind of abilities from Final Fantasy XIV, which would be appropriate. You kind of need to weave in this LD in between her regular rotations. So it doesn't really change that because it doesn't increase your mana in either white or black magic, but it does give you that 16-turn buff and that maybe 6-turn debuff, and so you want to continue to mess around with that. So other than that, it's a big fat attack. I guess she does get a C90, so her EX is upgraded, and you were hitting her EX before anyway because it's one of her better buttons. I don't know that if there's any other. Let me check. Any other rework or anything else, Mino?
Yeah, big reworks just makes her better
Yeah,
overall. I
more
won't talk about
damage.
the reworks. I won't talk about specifically how to use her either. Uh, Tonberry Troupe's old flowchart for Alisaie is still relevant
Yeah,
because once again
100%.
the LD does not change anything. Um, the LD gives her the overhead buff and it extends dual cast by 2 turns. So you just want it to have dual cast uptime
Yeah.
and to keep that overhead up. That's all. You weave it in, but otherwise everything else is normal. Please check out Tonberry Troupe's Alisaie flowchart. It was actually
Really well done. Yeah.
it was actually put up on DissidiaFFOO's official GL account, if you guys remember. The only
Yeah.
infographic they officially put on their official
Yeah,
account.
because it didn't have numbers. It just had
Right.
how to
So
play. If you're
please go check
interested
it
in
out.
flowcharts, check that flowchart out. That was a helpful flowchart.
Yeah.
Again,
Um.
probably don't need to actually have that memorized to play her, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I am actually thrilled that Alisaie got time traveled, and I'll fucking tell you why, because I'm pretty fucking sure, guys. I'm almost 100% positive if you go back to when Alisaie was first released in Defo period in GL, I have shat on the character every single iteration,
yeah,
but I always said she was a prime candidate for time travel. Because my thing with her kit was always when she releases on time, you are putting in extra work for uh less results. 100%. Every time Alisaie came out, even though you work harder because she's harder to play, there's somebody next to her much easier to play doing way more damage and better at her in every way. Like either her elements are getting shut out left and right, or she's just eating too many
yeah,
turns for orbs, or like she just had a shit ton of fucking problems. And I always said Alisaie would be a great character. Look, go ahead and throw us more difficult characters, but make them worth playing, right? Like the harder the character is, the more payoff you should get. And I always said Alisaie missed the mark every fucking time. And if she released in JP at the right time, same thing. She's 2 months early. She's a 2 month time traveler. She comes about roughly 2 months before the LD era ends and Shinryu hits. In the normal timeline, she does not get a lot of time to shine. Also, 2 months from now, we're also getting way heavier hitters as well. You know, you've got like Locke is next week, or yeah, the 13th, and then after that, you've got way more characters coming out, right? Like way more toys, Siste, etc., etc. A lot of toys. Her coming early is such a blessing because this is exactly what I wanted. I always said Alisaie would be a great character if none of her buttons mattered.
yeah,
And this is what's fucking happening. So, if she comes out at a normal time, if you mess up your rotation, you are so punished. Like, her stacks drop, you lose everything. Like,
yeah.
it's a DPS loss overall. It's like, hey, you need a flowchart up to play her properly so she can do about 80 to 90% of the damage that the meta character is doing at a time. Shit character all around. Lots of restrictions. But now, earlier in garbage time, way less elemental resistances. She doesn't have to worry about being shut out. She's strong enough. She has 2 months of power. She's strong enough where even if you don't do her rotation perfectly, she's still out damaging most of the cast because she just has that power from the future. And she's right next to Garnet. And once you put Garnet on the same team as her, nothing matters. She's going to be capping no matter what. So I think this is one of the best characters they could ever time travel because now it rewards the nerds, the tryhards, and the theory crafters for doing the rotation perfect. They will feel good doing the rotation perfect and being giant nerds. But your casual player can also just mash buttons and do massive amounts of damage with allies. So, applause to Squex. Of all the characters to time travel, this is one of the perfect ones.
Yeah,
in
no,
my
I
opinion.
agree. Yeah, I'm just disappointed we don't get her Shadowbringer costume and missing that money. Squex, come on. But we did get a sword, so you can give her a sword. I'm not a big fan of this costume. Better than her first costume, I guess. So what can you do? Should you pull? I don't know. If you're still looking for Garnet BT, then you sure, why not? If you're a
I think
big fan of Final Fantasy 14, why not?
advising new players, and like I said, I know a few new players, and I know there's a lot of new players coming in from Anniversary.
Yeah,
Advising, I got a lot of returning players. I've been telling them that before tonight, all the banners are pretty fucking junk.
yeah,
I would have only pulled on Garnet. I would never advise people to like a new player, brand new player with no roster, I would not advise them invest in Lude, because we talked
No.
about Lude as an EX enabler. Why the fuck would you pull him if you have no EXs to enable? I would never
Don't do the start dash.
Yeah, I would never advocate the start like it's
No.
hard to advocate the start dash. Who was the other Garnet banner?
The other Garnet banner is Prompto and Lightning. It's not a
like Lightning is kind of
yeah.
a rough
Hope
suggestion.
and Ace. I mean, that's not a terrible.
So and Lilisette was not a great. Like, I would never advise a new player to pull Lilisette. So that being said, you have such dumpster options, because I know a good amount of players trying to catch up and develop a roster now. Everyone as of yesterday was garbage except for Garnet. Now I can at least say, if you need a good attacker, Alisaie is a good attacker.
Yeah.
If you really need one. If you can hold out for lock in
you can just wait a couple weeks and get locked.
But if you want one right now,
if you're brand
Alisaie,
new, she'll round out your team.
Great attacker. Alisaie is a great attacker, and if you're brand new, Ace still holds up.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
sure, especially with Garnet.
And hope for mitigation if you need it. So the banners are not terrible, and I realize that mitigation is a big thing these new rosters are losing. A lot of my friends are saying they can't do like Lude event because they can't mitigate the hit, right? You don't have enough to no turn it yet. You have to take the hits, and there's no tanks up right now. So that is a big deal. These are decent banners if you're just joining Anniversary, but Alisaie is a damn fine attacker.
If you are just joining, you need to pull on the Garnet banner until you get her complete kit. And you don't need to pull for her complete kit, because you can get her LD, her 15 and 35 just with your tokens. You need her BT. So you should pull until you get the BT, and then use your other things to max out her kit completely. And then it doesn't really matter who else. Then just pick up whoever you want after that, and you'll be fine. And save your resources until the next era. Shout out to Res Foyna, our good friend Res Foyna, joining us in chat. Rez, really enjoyed your 4th anniversary / Tifa / pull video. We were watching that, and my 7-year-old said, we were watching your video of your reactions to the 4th anniversary news, Tifa's animations, and also your pulls. And my 7-year-old looked at me and said, she's very dramatic. And,
what? What?
And that's why we love you. Because
that's so rude.
It was a little rude. But you're very dramatic. And again, I appreciate your very, very, very real responses to the experience. I think that's fair. If you've watched the video, it's pretty. I think I was crying because you were so excited. So I love it. I love your videos. Everybody check out our good friend Res Foyna on Twitch and on YouTube. So yeah. Grab Alisaie. Now, we do have an event with this, and that is Abyss. So it is a new stratum of Abyss Perfectum, and that is Stratus 6. Don't have really any information besides right off the bat, you need a green staff user, and green staff users and sword users get boosts. And these are just regular. It's the bears, Kirin bears. And again, required green staff user. We're selling Garnet here. And boost to swords and staffs. And the this was the Heretic Lama Mascara Enchanted Fans. That was tier something, right?
Tier 1.
Yeah, this was a Transcendence boss, right? The Enchanted Fans.
First Transcendence, I believe. That was
those, the fire absorb. Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, they don't. They do have orbs. So. Player recovers at least 50% HP with ability. Again, these are just the very first ones, so this is a whole stratum. But these are the very first ones. And the Kirin bears are count target takes attack triggered by effect. Oh, okay, good. Well, we'll talk more about that next week, or Mino will if we have a show, because I will be out of town. So I will not be able to be here. But enjoy it. I've enjoyed Abyss. I know some people don't. I know the Crevasse is a little bit more fun. Personally, but I'm going to enjoy Abyss. And again, if you have Garnet, it shouldn't be a problem because you're going to Garnet your way through Abyss pretty easily, I think.
I don't know. Lockouts, right? Like, this is why I also think the lockout content for Anniversary is beautiful, because it shows that you can't just pull one character and do the event, right? Like,
but is Abyss Perfectum lock? Is this particularly locked out because this requires green staff for both of these?
I haven't attempted it yet, but I know that, like, historically Perfectum has those sub wings.
Yeah, it's the sub wings that are locked out.
Yeah.
The initial ones will not be locked out, right?
Right, we will see. We'll give you guys a more full report next week.
It's those that are going to be locked out. Yep, at the end. So, but we'll see. Whatever. All 4 stages require green. Oh, a green and a staff. Okay, right. Therefore you have different options with it. You don't need a green staff. Wow. Just green and a staff. Yeah. Let me remember how to do that.
Early glimpses at Discord is already people are suffering.
Oh,
Bears
good.
and Bears.
Yeah,
and
these are not easy bosses.
Some of the worst enemies. Yeah, these are some of the worst enemies in the game. A lot of PTSD coming back. Kieran Lufania plus T1.
Yeah.
Like, these were some of the hardest fights. That's what I mean. That's what I mean, guys. The harder the fight, the more memorable they are. Every veteran is getting PTSD just seeing these fucking enemies on the screen again.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. If you are having trouble, jump on our Discord, and there will be people there to help you. We just went through one with somebody today. Jumped on and shared the screen and walked through one of the events they were trying. That's a lot of fun. So, hey, unless you had some particular thing you wanted to discuss, Mino, let's look at our podcast questions. Again, you can go to our Discord and ask your questions. And if you want to ask a question live, whether you're on YouTube, I know YouTube's not working right now. Well, they just can't see. Thank you, Sully, for the sub with Prime. Check out TonberryTroupe.com as well. And they'll be getting those infographics up. I'm sure they're working hard to do that right now. But, if you want to super chat or you want to sub and write a question, we'll address your question live on air. But Supernova says, with recent purchase of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft, do the hosts think that this will open the door for the big three, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, to start a war and try to acquire developers to have more control over the market? Well, that's called...
Defo question?
I guess that's a defo question. Maybe. I mean, that they're already doing that. Like, the New York Times just bought Wordle. Like, this is a thing that's happening, right?
Wordle.
Yeah, Microsoft bought Blizzard, Activision, and then somebody bought something else, Bungie. Somebody bought Bungie, right? It's monopolies. Big companies buy shit all the time. Yeah, and the New York Times did buy Wordle. That's ridiculous.
Don't forget that Squaresoft bought Enix. That's why we're where we are right now.
Square bought Enix, and now we're Squex. There you go. Inkwelder, which monster enemy in Defo does each host relate to the most?
I see we're just not vetting these questions anymore.
Yeah, no. Which monster enemy? I relate best to the Tonberries because if you know the history of the Tonberries, they used to be scholars that became overwhelmed with greed and evil and then turned into Tonberries. That's
MMO lore.
That's the
I don't
scholar.
know if
That's a scholar quest from Final Fantasy XIV. And sometimes reading shit on Reddit and Facebook about this game does fill me with rage. So I relate to those. So do you have a good answer for that, Mino?
No, I wanted Tonberry too because they're
awesome.
being spite, but oh god, what the fuck kind of questions are these? I got a policy. I got to answer though. Fuck, FF enemies. There's some big ones.
What are the ones we don't have in the game? Tonberry's one of them. Poo poo. Poo poo. No poo poos. Poo poos. No poo poos.
Is there any?
Poo-poos, tonberries. Yes, on YouTube, the video on YouTube is not working. I apologize if you're just joining on YouTube. I did share the link for Twitch. Twitch is working, so you can jump and watch us. We're always on Twitch and YouTube. The stream cut for a second, and then when it came back, it's not working on YouTube. I do apologize for that. I have no idea how to fix that, what's going on with that. I'm sure it has something to do with the multi-stream, but it is streaming on Twitch, and we'll see if I can fix it for the YouTube later. Oh, Lord. I'm trying to see if there's any actual questions that have to do.
They're like good questions. Can we like?
If there are any actual questions that have to do with DeFo. Oh, hey, Crush asks an actual DeFo related question. What characters that are in DeFo would you like to get a dress outfit, like an actual dress?
That's not a good question.
Well, that's at least it's DeFo related. Well, we don't have Tifa or Eris dress or Cloud. I think those are the big three. Is there any others there, Mino?
I got nothing for this. I'm not recycling my jokes. I can't. We keep going.
Oh, okay. Red Cane has a great question here. With time traveling Garnet, does it make sense to fully max staff ultimate weapon, or is sword still better choice for most people because there are a lot more sword users than staff users? Well, BC, first of all, Red Cane, just pull the trigger. Just make a decision, man. We love you. Great supporter of the show. Just make a decision. It's okay. Just live with the consequences. That's how life is. You make a decision and you live with the consequences. It's okay. You'll be okay. Like nothing you do in this game will impact your life in a negative way, right? So this is the perfect opportunity to make good decisions, mess up, make mistakes, fail, come back, be stronger than ever. But seriously about this particular question, if you get an ultimate staff for Garnet, she will do more damage. But if you get an ultimate staff for damage dealer you have your eye on right now or future, like Locke, like anybody else coming up, Alisaie, she's going to enable them to do even more damage. So, I personally got an ultimate staff because Garnet's one of my favorite characters. So that's me. But and I think staff's good with like Strago coming out and Papalomo coming out too. But in general, unless Garnet's a favorite, it's probably better to use your ultimate weapon on a damage dealer unit. Mino, any thoughts on that?
I know BC's gonna fucking kill me for this shit. The optimal route is supposed to be invest heavily. I don't think staff is a bad one, but if you're asking seriously, I don't think Garnet needs the ultimate weapon.
No, right?
Like that's just overkill. I mean, I guess at this point you're shooting for overkill. I don't know. I mean, Luna Freya's a great Shinryu unit, and she's also going to use staff too. I really think, and I've said this from the beginning, ultimate weapons are a form of player expression. I don't think you can seriously go wrong unless you pick like Whip.
Yeah, Whip is the wrong answer.
Whip is the only. There are no wrong answers except that Whip is the wrong answer. So I feel like as long as you invest in the weapons of characters you like to use, you're always going to use them when they come back, and you can get through content just fine no matter how you invest.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should worry about it like this.
All right. Well, the last few the last few questions are more post show kind of questions. So, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about, Mina?
The devs really shut me up because this is exactly what I was asking for.
Yeah.
I was asking for GL exclusive harder content to break up garbage time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I said I expected nothing. The fact that we're getting 3 in a row for anniversary and specifically targeting veterans, because these are not pushover events. I could not be more ecstatic. And I wanted to share something, but no, I'll just summarize it. But I've had like friends recently join or who have been playing a long time express how special DeFo really is and how much the developers actually seem to listen to the player base.
Yeah.
Right? Like directly listen to the player base. No matter how jaded you are, you have to accept that a lot of quality of lives that we have gotten are direct asks from the player base. A lot of things, like more distinct buff icons. Um, shit, I don't remember. What what are the other things we've gotten that are huge? Like Josh said, like there's just been so many quality of
Oh
life
yeah.
since year one. It's hard to fucking keep track at this point. But they for sure listen. And I think that's one of the reasons I've been playing for 4 years, because it really feels like they respect their players. And I've never felt like they've just completely ignored what we wanted. And Defo is just such a special game. The community engagement is through the roof. I believe the statistic is no, actually, I'm 100% sure the statistic is the Defo monthly streams are the most watched recurring streams Squex has, period. And if I think Mark did a quick search today on like all Squex like games that it gets streamed, and Defo is definitely among the top right now, sitting at second. Like something is so special about this game and community engagement. And it's not just the devs. Shout out to the devs. Shout out to Josh. Shout out to our community managers, Crystal, Glacy, but also our content creators as well. I can't tell you how many of my friends who are starting the game are saying like, God, it's so rare for a gacha game this small
How
to have
many?
such a
I was thinking about this. How many actual legitimate competitive games? So I mean, we started this 186 episodes ago. This podcast, and we actually are a podcast. You can listen to us on SoundCloud. We're gonna take it off Spotify, of course. But we are still on your favorite podcast apps. Yeah, I got my petition in to Spotify already with everybody else. But we started this very niche, like a talk show podcast style experience for a niche mobile game. And over the 4 years now, almost 4 years, we've been doing this. Quite a few other people have tried to do the same thing. And currently, there are 3 other ongoing shows that are very similar to our format about this very niche mobile gacha game. In addition to, Faux Tip, Compendium, Dissidia Database, Tonberry Troupe, Dissidia Info, in addition to all the YouTube content creators, in addition to I guess there's 4 other shows besides us.
There's so
wow.
many. There's so many regular streamers
besides us.
too.
No, and all the but just even like talk show style. There's the Fireside Chat. There's Ranting Hour. There's Historia Crux, and there's Livestream. We have inspired 4 other talk shows just about this stupid mobile game. That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, all the streamers and everything else. All the YouTube. I mean, for there are games. I mean, 100 times the audience that our game has that have no community. I mean, maybe they have a Reddit, but there's very few YouTubers, few streamers, especially with gacha games. It's hard to stream a gacha game. There's just not a lot of interesting things. Now you can stream fighting games, you can stream Fortnite, there's a lot of things you can stream. There's just not a lot of gacha games you can stream. Genshin's been a good one people have streamed, but very few ongoing. Like, check out Final Fantasy Record Keeper streams. Check out Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. Those are both, Record Keeper's not, but Brave Exvius, War of the Visions, those are technically bigger games than Defo. Find those videos. Find those, they exist. Find those podcasts and talk shows. I mean, it's just ridiculous the number of, and I'm not going to say necessarily high quality, but the number of people doing the work for content creation is ridiculous.
Yeah, Mark just said some of the shows are not high quality,
including our own.
And then he listed 3 other shows, so it's really like the odds of you picking out which show he's talking shit about.
I said 4 other shows.
Astronomically high. Like at least 33% of the other shows.
I was talking about our content creation, our content creators in general. There are definitely professional quality content creators who do video game content full time that as a profession, and none of us are that. Like nobody's doing DeFo professionally full time, right?
No, Josepher.
Well, Josepher is yes, and 14. So yeah. So I mean we do have one, but there are a lot of other games that support a lot of other full time content creators. But that being said, we just have a lot of content creators who are doing good stuff and a great community, lots of great Discords and everything else. So yeah, it's a great game. It's been a lot of fun to play for 4 years. It's been fun to almost do this podcast for 4 years, and we look forward to the future. We will stick around and do some polls in the post show. Thank you. Sorry about what happened on YouTube. I'll try to switch when I have some time. That may not be immediately. Switch the show so that we can have it on YouTube in its full version, but it will be available on the podcast as well. It's on Twitch video on demand on Twitch as well. Do appreciate all your support, so like, sub, ring the bell, follow. If you want to sub on Twitch, great. If you want to become a YouTube member, love it. Appreciate all of you. And we will catch you next week. This has been episode 186 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded February 3rd, 2022. Stick around for the post show. Until next time, friends, good luck on your polls. Goodbye.